Do you want Jordan to stay on the line, or should you want him to hang up?
He can hang up, so he can go off and make a cup of tea or go to bed or whatever he needs
Get
to do.
out. Get out, Jordan. Spot out.
I'll go get lost. You guys have a great time.
Cheers,
All right.
Jordan. Cheers,
Thanks
buddy.
for your help.
Welcome, viewers and listeners, to another Arcade Attack podcast. I'm Dylan. This is my good colleague, Adrian.
I'm happy to be here.
And we've got a very special guest today. Joining us via a very reliable Skype connection is voice gaming actor supremo Christian Erickson. Hello, Christian.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Not bad, sir.
Really
not
good.
Not bad. We're just looking forward to a good chat. We'll try and keep you as long as possible because we know how busy you are. So
okay. Gotta go.
So, yeah, I mean, first question is, have you had a nice Christmas? How's your New Year's been? What have you been up to over in France there?
I have, it was a lovely Christmas. Very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Small group of us, 5.
Yeah.
And then I live in this little small village.
Yeah.
So New Year's was down at their community hall, and they organize a gourmet dinner, and we dance and
Nice
stuff.
Nice.
It's lovely. It's easy, is what it is.
It's easy. Do you like living in France? Does France get the big tick?
Yes, I do very much.
So yeah, it's been pretty cold over here. I don't know what it's been like.
It's freezing here. It's freezing and really grey. Really, really grey.
Nice. All right, and we'll get straight to it anyway. Obviously, let us know if you have any questions about any of the questions. So yeah, I guess Adrian will start us off. Yeah.
Brilliant, really great honour to meet you, Christian. Thank you for your time today. I grew up playing. I was a bit of a PC gamer growing up, and MegaRace was definitely one of my first games I played on the PC. Also, Twinson's Adventure, I think it's called Little Big Adventure More in Europe, was huge for me. Massive games, and I know you involved in both of those. But before you, what was the first video game? Do you remember that you worked on?
The very first game, I think, I don't know. I remember when MegaRace came out, when Creo was one of the very first companies, and but I must have been working before that because I was one of the people that was called. So I don't remember. I'll be honest with you, boys. I don't even half the time, most of the time, I don't even remark on what the name of the game is. You go in, have the studio session, go home, and wait to get paid.
Oh, okay. That sounds nice and straightforward. Yeah. So we'll assume then that MegaRace was the first one. You said you got the call. Like, how did the whole MegaRace kind of opportunity come about? You know, how did you end up being Lance Boyle? How did that all transpire?
Audition. They auditioned us.
Oh, okay. Was that over in the States, or where was it? Over in Europe? Where was?
Oh no! I was already living here in France.
Yeah. Okay.
It was. We were called into Creo, and I think there were maybe three or 5 of us.
Yeah.
And I think we all auditioned.
Yeah.
We read and then acted out some of the text, which luckily was a text I already found hysterically funny. I loved it. So something must have clicked, and I found myself doing it.
It's odd because, you know, Lance Boyle was like one of the first characters we'd seen as, you know, like a real life person in a game. It was
exactly. I think that's why it worked so well, that first one. You know, they do more, and they didn't work nearly as well.
Did you do like sort of like French television stuff before that? I was just kind of looking at your history. What kind of, so this would have been, MegaRace was
early 90s.
Early 90s. Yeah. What kind of stuff were you doing in the 80s? What kind of stuff were you sort of doing previous to
well,
MegaRace?
Same stuff I'm still doing a lot of theater, a lot of some movies, and a lot of voice work.
Yeah. Okay.
Good stuff. I really enjoyed Lance Boyle as a character. I like Dylan said, he was probably one of the first characters. I saw on my PC screen.
It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, What was your inspiration for the character? Were you told how to play the character, or was it all your kind of idea? Because I couldn't imagine anyone else as Lance Boyle, truthfully.
Well, I wish I could answer that. I imagine it was suggested to me, but all I had to hear was a really weird intergalactic car salesman. So I knew he was already greasy. And I guess that just clogged in my brain, and my body went with it.
Okay, so the Lance Boyle kind of came from within you. They kind of gave you an outline, and then you just
My inner Boyle, yes.
Your inner Boyle. I love that. I love the inner Boyle.
Popped it.
I'd love to know. Would you ever like to meet Lance Boyle in real life? What do you think of him as a person? Do you think you could actually see yourself have a drink with him?
I feel like I've met him 100 times, and I'm repelled each and every time.
I like the honest answer. Thank you.
Yeah, he's not the kind of guy that we'd ideally want to hang out with. Yeah. We'd rather hang out with you. Yeah, we'd rather hang out with you. So yeah.
Okay.
What was the what was it like working for Creo? I mean, was it literally you just going into the studio, bashing out all the scenes, and then you had nothing to do with the game, the development? Was it literally just a day or something? How did it all sort of pan out when you were working, and doing that?
The first one was I can't honestly remember how many days. It wasn't all just one day. No, not by any means. Might have been a week.
Yeah.
And because we changed little costumes and stuff for each different scene. But I was just in blue screen or green screen, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And memorized my lines. They give me time to do that.
Yeah.
And went in and did the scenes, and they took over from there. I never actually saw the full game.
They didn't show you the game before filming the scenes or anything, so you had no idea what type of game it was. I suppose
not at that point. Not at that point. I only found out sometime afterwards it had been a mega success. So I went into their office and said, my contractors, I recall, gave me a few little shekels if it was.
Oh, wow.
And the lady said, oh yeah, that's true. We forgot all about that.
How convenient.
And gave me a very small check. And that's the last I ever heard of it.
Wow.
Until it was another company that took over, bought the rights from Creo.
Yeah.
And did MegaRace 2.
Yeah. And
they got a whole lot of money into it, but basically didn't change the game much, I heard.
No.
And they hired a lovely assistant. And they paid me more, and they took me to Dusseldorf, where there's a giant video audio thing, a big fair.
Yeah.
And I was a guest star there, which is really surprising to me.
Oh,
Yeah. And I would do little appearances several times a day.
Well, this is the thing. You would have been.
What's this kid? This little German kid came up and gave me a lock of his hair in a baggie.
Wow.
Okay.
That's when I realized that I had created sickness and disease amongst the young.
Wow. I mean, the impact of Lance Boyle must have been quite shocking in a way then. Were you expecting any of this to happen?
Not at all.
Yeah. You would have been video game royalty. Like I said, you would have been one of the first, if not the first, full motion video person seen on a video game. And the best thing is that you can actually clone that kid now, because I don't know if you kept the hair, but you can actually clone the kid now. So
I had not thought of that.
Yeah.
Damn it. Oh, I could have I had an army. I could have my own army.
You could have an army of this kid. I don't know if he turned out to be a professional football player or anything, but you could have you can make your own football or soccer team or something. So you can do all of that. But anyway. So MegaRace 2, I suppose, the game.
Yeah, it's good. You boys are using your heads.
Thank you. We're always thinking about ways to clone people and make armies and things. So don't worry too much about that.
Okay.
Do you think? I mean, because we've seen a lot of it now. Because I haven't played until we spoke to obviously Zoom platform and Jordan Freeman, everyone who put this together. So thanks everyone at Zoom. I hadn't played MegaRace for years, and it was, it was really good seeing you sort of back on the screen and going through all of this. Do you think there could have been a Lance Boyle Mega Race movie? Do you think that could have, and would you have been up for it?
Of course, I would have been up for it, but I can't see enough material there for a movie.
It's actually, I think if you put them all together, I think it's a couple of hours worth.
There you go.
Across the games.
Well, it's slightly repetitious, no.
They're slightly repetitious. But,
Yeah.
you could kind of patch them together or do something along, based on them as a movie.
Well, I guess what you'd do is you'd have, because you couldn't have it interactive with the audience. So what you, as far as I know, you'd have to follow the life stories of whoever was playing it.
Yeah.
And then, Lance Boyle could actually enter into this person's life and become real.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Good idea.
That sounds a bit mad.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Doesn't it?
I'd watch that.
I'd definitely watch
But
it.
the point is, boys, not to watch it. I want you to write it.
Oh, you're doing it.
Yeah. You call me when it's done, and I'll come in, and we'll talk about money. Okay?
Nice.
We've been told, viewers, by Christian to do this now. So we have to do this. We have to do this with our time off.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, good stuff. Yeah, good stuff.
With-
Would you say that Mega Race was the door that opened, that allowed you to get more video game sort of credits under your belt? Was that like the big break for you in the video game industry, would you say?
Not really.
Okay,
No.
nothing.
It's part of a whole system of actors that started getting called more and more because we had a talent for it.
Well, I think I gave you a little. It's not going to be much of a surprise, but I gave Christian a little bit of a preview of the questions I sent over. One of them, I was looking through your credits, and you actually worked with David Gassman quite a lot.
Oh yeah,
and
the last one I did, he directed.
that's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, what is he like to? I've tried contacting him a few times to no avail. But what is he like to work with? What is he like to work for?
David, he's a pal. He's a close pal. I've known him for years and years.
You can put in a good word for us.
Sure, absolutely. And you've tried to contact him, he refused. That doesn't seem like him at all.
I don't know. Maybe he's checking his. I don't know if he checks his social presence and things like that. But I'll try him again. But yeah, if you just tell him that Dylan.
I would think
tell him that Dylan from Arcade Attack will try and contact him.
I would think he'd
again.
be thrilled with any kind of exposure. Yeah, he's great. He's very clever, extremely talented.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
And
both
he's
of
a good
you are,
director,
yeah.
good fellow actor. I have nothing good things to say about him.
That's good. That's good. Both of you are extremely versatile. I mean, you guys do like a whole range of accents and how do you practice these kind of things? How do you learn, for anyone who wants to be a video game actor, voice actor, what would your sort of, what would your tips be for them to get a bit of versatility?
Difficult to answer. I'll tell you why. Because I never trained as a voice actor. I trained as an actor. So all of this mobility of voice and accents and stuff, I learned basically on stage,
All right.
which is my first love.
Yeah.
And I never even thought about voice acting until I'd been here in France for maybe a couple years. And there was a friend of ours, and he and his wife wanted to open up a company of voice agency.
Yeah.
And we knew each other, and so we ended up 10 of us in this association. And it was the first one, really, in Paris.
All right.
Yeah. And it got going great guns. And we were all Anglophones. It was all for stuff in English.
Yeah.
And they did and still do an awful lot of voiceover in Paris. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's cheaper.
maybe.
But it just kind of started snowballing.
That's mad, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard a few times by different actors that voice acting on cartoons or video games is almost one of the hardest things to act, because you have got nothing in front of you but lines. Would you say it's quite a tough? Would you kind of agree with Christian, that it's quite tough voice acting, whole different sort of skill set needed?
Tough. It depends. It depends on the parameters. I mean, usually if you're going from nothing, if there's not even an image, then that leaves you in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of limbo land. Depends on your director in that case.
Yeah.
Or often the client is there, and they can give you guidelines as to what they want to hear in the voice. But to usually have a character description, whether or not you can see the image. If you see the image, then a certain kind of voice immediately implies itself. And if you go for a casting for voiceover, then you'll try several different voices until we find one that fits, that seems to come out of the face. And then that's all the different tries are sent off to the client, and he chooses who he wants to do what.
Oh,
Good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes they will form the lips and all the actions from you.
Yeah.
You're the starting point.
Yeah.
And that's like I said, it's a little more floating in the void. I find that hard to do.
Yeah.
But I find once I've given a character description and a picture, an image at least, of what they're like.
Yeah.
And in most of these games and stuff, it's pretty basic. Either a bad guy or a good guy.
Yeah.
My least favorite were the war ones. I did thousands of those things.
Yeah.
Where into a session they'll throw in, okay, you also have to play soldier number 1 and dying man number 3, according along with your regular roles.
Yeah.
Which means you spend a good half hour at the end of the session screaming, dying, punching, and you leave with hamburger voice.
Yeah. On average, on a tip, I know it pretty changes obviously for each video game, but how many lines of dialogue would you say on each video game do you roughly record? I mean, I've heard some games have like over 40,000 lines sometimes. Is that true?
40,000 seems a little high.
Yeah, possibly.
I don't know. It'd be just a rough guess. It wouldn't mean anything. I have no idea. They're big roles. They're little roles. It runs the whole gamut.
So you prefer to voice the actor or the character sort of, their lips moving rather than the other way around. So you prefer to, rather than you sort of.
It's more fun, but also it is then technique comes in because you're basically dubbing.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So you
sense.
prefer dubbing as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah, it's okay if it's been well written.
Mm-hmm.
If it's been well written, and oftentimes a lot of our cartoon work here is they're old French cartoons or new French cartoons.
Yeah.
We're dubbing them into English, and if it's been well detected, and the little band going across underneath it while we're recording it is well written and well connected and clever, then it's easy and it's fun.
Oh, it's good.
It's quite fun.
Good stuff.
I mean, I love cartoons. Cartoons are really fun. What I regret, I'll tell you, anymore, all that's done is done, you're on your own. It used to be everybody within the cartoon, say, would come in for every day for a week or so, how long it took, and we would all be there together. And, whenever was your turn, you or two of you or three of you or all of you would go up to the bar and record together. Now it's all solo sessions. I think it saves them time, but it's a lot less fun.
Yeah, because you can't get to hang out with the actors as much. You can't sort of play off
Well,
them
of course,
as much.
and it was all pals.
Yeah.
It was much of the same old gang each time.
Like with David and everyone. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, that is a shame. But yeah, I'm watching a lot of cartoons now. I was just become a dad again, so I'm like, oh, dad again, dad for the first time. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that's been fun, but it's interesting to hear like people like you talking about how they're filmed, how they're
Yeah, really
recorded,
interesting.
and you know,
Oh yeah. We used to do a lot of Oh, that's the dubbing world. That's not necessarily interesting. Never mind. A lot of the same technique. We used to do porno films together,
Fair enough.
dubbing them. That is
I'm
dubbing.
thinking, the dubbing, of course. There's not. I suppose there wouldn't be much scope for ad libbing, would there? I mean, in that kind of work, and you know, going back to Lance Boyle, did you sort of ad lib any of that, or was it sort of verbatim? Did you just follow their script as is? I know it's going back a little while, but you know, what do you remember? Whether you sort of improvised anything on top of the original stuff?
Undoubtedly, but I think what I improvised was more reactions, movements, all that stuff. The actual script, I tried to stick pretty close to because it was great.
Yeah.
It was
You
very
won't get
funny.
you won't get any arguments from that about.
Yeah, I like
like
Lance. I thought he was very charismatic. He was a bit greasy. I like that word. He seemed a bit slimy, but a really interesting character.
Marky, yeah, slimy.
What was your favourite video game to work on? Was MegaRace your favourite, or was there a particular?
The more recent stuff
Yeah.
or the older stuff, which is which video games?
Well, MegaRace was, of course, the most involving one. I mean, over the 3 versions that came out in the end, I must have spent close to a month working on those.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was really fun.
Yeah.
Because I was given pretty much total freedom and looked ridiculous, could act ridiculous. No, it was fun. It was great.
Good.
The rest of the time, I think that's, except for body imaging ones,
Yeah.
that's offered me the most freedom as an actor.
Nice.
Oh, very nice. Have you done the stuff? I mean, I think news lately has been a bit lacking on the MegaRace reboot. Have you done all of the acting and the clips for that yet, or is that still a work in progress?
No, I did some clips at the beginning to jumpstart the whole project.
Yeah.
Those are pretty funny, and then no, they keep expanding it. It's been in the works for a while.
Yeah.
And they keep expanding it. He told me that they've got some new sports battle arena thing they're adding.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. I've heard
that it should
something
come
similar.
out this year, and he said that it should be worth the wait.
There we go. That's an
looking forward to it.
exclusive. That's an exclusive
Yeah.
for our listeners / viewers. MegaRace reboot is coming this year. Was it interesting, sort of stepping back into Lance's shoes? What was that like?
Vaguely, I was shocked, of course. I mean, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
But
20-something
it was kind of a shot in the dark, and I thought, why not? And
I think
I've got my own. They've sent me my own Lance Boyle dolly now.
Wow, really?
I
Doesn't
actually
surprise
have
me.
my own Lance Boyle action doll.
That's amazing.
Do you want to see him?
Yeah,
He's right
please.
here.
Yeah, let's
Come
see
on,
it.
Lance.
Let's see it if you got it.
Come on, Lance.
He's
Come
hiding.
on. I was really excited to get my own action figure. I mean, who has their own action figure? Look.
That's the oh my god, that is him, isn't
Yeah.
it?
That's
They
Lance.
Oh, Lance.
Yeah.
Does it have a pull
Yeah.
string or anything?
He was they only made 2. They only made 2. I gave one to my sister because she collects dolls.
Wow.
And you can press something on his back.
Oh, wow.
But and he's supposed to say phrases that were actually me
Yeah.
recorded back then,
Yeah.
but it was a prototype, and all the phrases, every time you pressed it, all the phrases ran together. But now I think the battery's dead or something, so he doesn't say anything.
Wow, that's amazing.
Oh, that's we would have loved to seen that, but well, I'm sure we'll see it again in the future. Lance, that's surely the pinnacle. That's the pinnacle of any sort of actor's career, isn't it? To have your own action figure.
Well, yeah, I don't think Richard Burton got in his own action figure, did he?
Richard Burton
No.
didn't get one. You know, he's
No.
nothing compared to Christian Erickson. Clearly, you know.
I'm not making that. I'm not saying that. Observing how many actors are there that have a live action figure.
Not many.
Not many.
Not many.
Mhm.
So you know, with the MegaRace reboot and the stuff you're doing for Zoom platform, How did you come to even? We met. It was a funny story how we met Jordan from Zoom platform. But how did you how did you get involved with him, and obviously Bernie Stolar's there as well, and Scott Miller and everyone? How did you get involved with them? What is there a sort of an interesting backstory behind that?
Okay, you muckrakers. I'm not a kiss and tell type.
We want the goss. We want the goss.
Spill the beans, please.
That's clear. That's clear. I wish I had something interesting to say.
Okay.
I heard from my agent one day that there's this guy in San Diego that would like to contact you. He's interested in rebooting MegaRace.
Yeah.
Could I give him your okay to contact you or whatever?
Yeah.
Anyway, mostly with Jordan, for the most part, it's been through the agent.
Yeah.
And I haven't met the other people.
Oh, right.
I mean,
okay. They're all.
they're all in the States.
Yeah, they're all in the States. Yeah, and everything's remote now, isn't it? So you don't need
It
to
is.
be in the same room.
You saw
anymore.
you saw how long it took to set up this stupid Skype account.
Well, this is the illusion is that the viewers don't know, that it took so long to actually get the Skype call working. But
Well, I've just
they do
blown
now.
it out.
Yeah,
They've blown it now.
We
Thanks,
supposed to come
Skype.
across as competent people.
Thanks, Skype. Yeah, that was grand.
Sorry.
Because Jordan, I think a lot of his success comes from his ability to cold call people. So I think he's probably gone to your agent and gone, "Hey, I want to speak to Christian Erickson. We're gonna get this MegaRace reboot done." And that's the kind of way he
I
goes
suppose
about his
so. I
business.
suppose so. I mean, apparently he's an old MegaRace fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And,
Zoom have done a lot of the reboot. I think they've done a lot of the remasters for the old ones, so that they're all on their platform and things. And I think they've remastered Alien versus Predator and Killing Time, and I
All
think
good games.
there's I mean, they've got a lot of good stuff. So we're looking forward to everything that they've got coming up with you. Are you allowed to speak about your current, obviously your current dealings with them, or any other projects you're doing at the moment?
Well, I know I'm set to record on 2 new games.
Yeah.
At a studio here in Paris. But no, I have a non-disclosure agreement with them.
You can.
Stop
It's just me
crying.
and Dylan. It's just me and Dylan.
I think we can say that Christian is going to be in Shadow Stalkers, which I think is sort of going to be the big.
There's
kind of-
I can't remember the name of the other one. Shadow Stalkers and another one.
There was another one. It's escaped me. I'll put it in the notes underneath the video. But yeah, there is the other one as well.
Just really quickly on MegaRace Reboot, I'm sure Jordan agrees. Without having Lance Boyle back, it just wouldn't be the same. So I'm really looking forward to the new MegaRace, but without you there, it would kind of lose a bit of shine. So I'm really happy you're on board, actually. I'm sure Jordan would agree with that.
Should we have told Christian that? Is he going to use that again?
It's out there, boys. You just need some ammo.
You could totally use that. We've got a little bit of a preview for our viewers. We've got the guys over there have sent us a little sort of headshot of Christian's character. So we're just going to put that on the screen there, and it looks like you, doesn't it? Really, like it's pretty much. I think it's very. The guys working on it have done a really great job.
I hope they make a doll form as well. What do you reckon?
They could make a doll out of this, couldn't they?
Two dolls. What do you reckon, Christian?
Yeah.
But
you really would have made it. You really would have made it if you had 2 dolls.
Yeah.
2 dolls. That would have just,
see? Oh my God, the glory, the fame. My head is spinning.
Are you allowed to tell us anything about the game whatsoever? Your character in it, or is it just NDA? Is it all NDA? Are we allowed to?
No.
Well, that's about as exclusive as I think we're going to get for our viewers.
Would you rather meet this new character more than Lance Boyle? Who would you rather have a beer with? That's the question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I would not be seen dead with either one of them. Yeah.
I think that's given us a
run with
flavour.
those types.
I think that's given us a flavour as to what this character is going to be like.
Yeah.
Do you prefer? I mean, you do a lot of stuff that's pre-recorded and it goes into the games, or obviously the the dubbing work you do for cartoons, but you've done a lot of live acting, of course, as well. You do your theatre and everything. Which do you actually prefer? You know, do you prefer sort of in the moment kind of theatre acting or film acting, or do you prefer?
Oh, theatre acting by far.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Big audiences, small theatres. What kind of what floats you?
Whatever's going. You're actually in contact with the public.
Yeah.
You're actually communicating. There's actually a sharing of things going on.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you're filming, you're on television, you're doing game things.
Yeah.
At best, you got a camera team in front of you.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's something too contained about them.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. You've worked with some very famous actors. I mean, John Malkovich, Dougray Scott. Who's probably who's the most famous person you've either met or worked with?
Aside from the French ones, which aren't necessarily known, although I did film with Jean Dujardin, who was in The Artist. That was a big thing.
Oh yeah, The Artist. Yeah.
I worked with, along with John, I worked with Faye Dunaway in the
Wow.
the Messenger.
Yeah.
And who else have I worked with? Well, most of the good work has been over here in France.
You've worked for Luc Besson, of course. What was he like to, obviously?
With who?
Luc Besson.
Oh, yeah. I've worked a fair amount with old Luke.
Legend.
He's, I really like him. He's very special. He's a czar.
Yeah.
He's an absolute control freak.
Yeah.
But he's very familial, young people fight to be helpers, aides.
Oh yeah.
On his stuff, because eventually they can work their way up if they're good at it. And eventually, if they desire, they stand a good chance that he'll finance a project of theirs.
Wow. Does he do that? I didn't even know he did that.
Oh, God, yeah. I know he's a massive producer. EuropaCorp is Besson.
Yeah, all right, okay. I might drop him a line. I'll see if he needs a sandwich guy or something.
Yeah.
Do.
I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll say.
Don't use my name.
I won't.
Yeah, Dylan. Only I'm allowed to use Christian's name.
I won't use your name, Christian. All right, no, that's fine. So we'll go back to the live movies again. So you were on the Hitman movie.
Oh yeah.
Which
It was.
We've all seen. Do you speak Russian, or was that just a nice bit of sort of acting as a Russian general that you did there?
That was pure schmaltzy Russian, invented on the spot. I was supposed to speak some Russian when I was talking to my troops.
Yeah.
And I had a Russian coach.
Yes.
And we filmed in Bulgaria for a week, and we were going to do the Russian bit at the end of the week.
Yeah.
And he visited me at the hotel, this coach, every day. We went over the lines. And I've never attempted any language so difficult in my life. There were sounds that my mouth couldn't figure out how to make.
I know, yeah.
And it's not as if I would be allowed to have an accent as a Russian general. And it had to be at a certain clip just because of the agencies of movies. You need to pace it. So I was sweating bullets by the time we got there. Got into my little uniform with that ridiculous hat.
Yeah.
The director said, "Oh, yeah, no, let's not bother with the French. We'll just do it in English."
Yeah, okay, all right.
Which I was relieved and pissed off too, because I just spent a whole week worrying.
You'd been worrying.
Which is a good lesson
practicing.
in life. Never worry.
Yeah. So the guy says something, for people who haven't seen Hitman, the guy says something in Russian, doesn't he? And then you essentially are translator, or I forget the exact words that you say, but it works. I think, Christian. It works, but it would have been quite good to hear you speak some Russian.
Yeah.
Do you remember any? Do you want to give us some Russian now? No?
Well, actually, they called me back. Me and my friend Joe, he was playing the other Russian general,
Yeah.
to redub it twice.
All right.
Because the Americans kept saying that there was it wasn't PC enough. It was too much. It sounded like a cartoon Russian accent, or it's just too Russian. It was too Russian sounding.
Right.
It sounded like we were, making fun of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the version that finally came out is totally toned down. It's almost pure American.
Yeah.
Just a slight hint of Russian.
It's a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. It
good
was.
stuff.
It's.
Yeah.
I was sold. I thought that you were Russian general doing the translating, but in a slight Russian
Yes,
accent.
but you guys are very bright.
Oh,
If you're
you-
watching Hitman in the first place, you're obviously not very bright.
God.
I
You've
mean,
got us pegged. I think he's got us pegged.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you've got us banged to rights, mate. Oh no.
I mean, yeah, Hitman, a big movie. I think there's a sequel out soon as well, isn't there? I think I saw a trailer
Yeah.
recently. You weren't called back for the sequel then?
No.
How did the
No.
whole Hitman thing come about? Did they
Yeah.
get you on board because you are such a big video game sort of character actor, or did they? Was it just your
Yeah.
agent found you the part? How did that come about?
I auditioned for it.
Again, audition. Oh.
Yeah.
I thought they would, because it was quite a nice nod because everyone recognised you.
Yeah.
I think at the time they were like, "Is that the guy that plays Lance Boyle? Like,
Yeah.
Well,
is he in Hitman?"
that was something I was totally unaware of.
I think
Lance Boyle.
I think you can't you shouldn't underplay it. I think Lance Boyle
Yeah.
was a pretty seismic
Huge.
character.
Well, I'm
Huge
not trying to
game changer.
underplay it. I'm just telling you, all this is quite a surprise to me.
Good.
It's just something that I did back then.
Yeah.
Something you did back then because you're a good actor. Yeah, there you go.
If you insist.
Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy how your video game sort of career sort of merged into the movie world. And what's your feelings about video games turned to films? Have you got an opinion about that?
I don't have any feelings. I'll be honest with you. I've never played one.
Really?
That's not true. I played Pac-Man once in a bar in New York about 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was okay. But that's about as far as my interest went.
Okay.
You have to realize, too, that by the time all that stuff started getting sophisticated and moved out and popular, I was well past 12 years old. So it didn't. Most of it were war games and a lot of screaming and weird shit too. So I just didn't buy into it. It wasn't interesting to me.
Oh, fair enough.
That's a good point actually, because we, Adrian and myself, we were about 7-8 years old, I think, when we started getting video games were sort of more sort of commonplace.
Yeah, they got pretty big
in our growing up.
Yeah.
But you're not the first video game actor who said to us that you've not played any games.
That's right.
But you should play the MegaRace ones. We'll get Jordan and the Zoom guys to make you play all those.
Yeah.
You've actually answered in great depth sort of everything I wanted to ask. I just want to see if Adrian had any sort of further questions for you.
Well, I think it was called Twinton's Adventure, the American audience, but I knew it as Little Big Adventure, and I don't suppose I think you worked on both of those games. Do you remember working on those two games, Christian?
No.
Okay. Well, you did a good job, by the way, because I remember really enjoying it back then.
I was glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it.
No, really good. I mean, is there any sort of movies you'd love to have worked on in the past? Is there any sort of roles you thought, I could have smashed that? Or you've obviously had a great career, but did you ever look back and go, I wish I had an opportunity in that particular film or movie or whatever it is?
What I'd love to do in movies, but the list is endless. The list is endless. I am going to be in. It's a French movie, though. I don't know. I mean, you guys don't watch them. I got a nice little role in a new movie about Casanova. It's the end of his life. But I'm not playing Casanova. I'm playing an English lord. Okay. That is good. That's fun. And
what's that?
there's a lot of stuff that I've been doing this last year. It's called, they just changed the title. I don't know what it's to. It used to be Casanova. I think it's called The Last Love or something like that.
Last Love. Okay, all right.
But it'll be in French. This last year or two, I started doing a lot of this new format of series that are exclusively for phones and pads.
All right.
Yeah. And I did, I think, at least 3 of them for, it was a Besson product called Black Pills.
Oh.
Yes. They were all in English, and I'm not sure. I've never tried to figure out how you get them. I suppose you got to pay for an app or something like that. That must be how that works.
So it's like an interactive thing, but okay.
I have no idea.
You have no
I
idea.
don't think so. I don't think so. I think they're just
Staying
regular
true.
little
Yeah.
series.
Yeah. Staying true, Christian. Staying true.
Good stuff.
Brilliant. Well, I think we'll just wrap up by. Actually, I'll ask you one more thing before.
What?
Before we like leave you to your evening. What's the one? You've had a long, distinguished career. What's the one for any budding actor? Now, what's sort of what's the main thing you can tell them? What's your sort of your tip?
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
Main
bit of advice.
I would say, go get him, Tiger.
I love it.
That's all I would say.
I love it.
There's nothing. I have no secrets to impart, and I would guess that I would say have fun. Just have fun.
Have fun with it.
And don't go in trying to start a huge money-making career.
Yeah.
Just go in and see if it's something you can do and have fun doing.
Yeah.
And then you'll be good.
That's actually really great advice.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Let's have fun.
Thanks for joining us, Christian. Obviously, thanks everyone at home for watching. We'll bid Christian a good evening.
It's been a real pleasure, real honour today. Thank you.
Good evening.
Bye.
See you later.
Okay, bye-bye.